Today on the Blazers Are Cool show, we're about a quarter of the way through the season at the NBA Cup break. So Brad and I figured it'd be a good time to do some player grades, player evaluations, a player report card, if you will, and give our grades based on the expectations of each player on the Portland Trail Blazers going into the season. We've got some good ones and we've got some bad ones. We'll also talk about the state of the Blazers and look ahead to how this is probably a pretty important stretch of the season coming up for the Blazers. We know they've lost a lot of games recently, but now is the time to rack up some wins. The schedule finally softens up and we get that break that we've needed really badly. As always, we appreciate all of you guys for listening to us talk about our favorite basketball team. We'd love if you could hit a like on this video to help us out. If you're new here and you like this episode, please consider hitting subscribe. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers before the end of the NBA season, and we need your help to do that. But without further ado, let's give out some player grades to the Blazers. Brad, happy holidays.
Thank you, dude. You too. I got a new Blazers beanie.
Yeah,
new Christmas gift. I'm feeling good.
Oh, it looks great. It's matches.
Yeah.
It's the two things you love the most in this world are beanies and the Blazers.
And the Blazers.
And it's just mixing them into one. It's perfect.
And I'm working on my Beanies Are Cool pod.
Yeah.
So hopefully going to debut pretty soon.
Okay. Well, since you and I last spoke, the Blazers played 2 basketball games. And let me tell you, they're 2 of the more frustrating basketball games I've watched in a long time.
They were not fun watches. They were actually extremely miserable watches.
The Pistons game was, I think it's either second or the game in the entirety of the NBA so far this season with the most fouls.
Yeah.
And I think I learned after watching that and looking this up that we have attributed for 4 of the 8 most fouls in a game by a team this season. So
we've had the fourth most
caused
fouls?
them, yeah.
Wow.
And the 3 of the other ones happened in games that went to double overtime.
That's crazy.
So in a 48-minute game, we are attributing for 4 of the 5 most fouls in a game. So
that's amazing.
That Pistons game, rounded into form that we are a pretty tough watch when it comes to just objective basketball.
Yeah.
The Memphis game didn't follow it up with much better. It was really poorly officiated. I think everyone can agree on that. And
they killed Hansen and let him die in the middle of the court. They just watched it.
He was literally face down, not moving. He could have been knocked out, and the rest would have known in that situation.
It reminded me of did you ever see that when that happened to J.R. Smith like a decade ago, 15 years ago with the Nuggets?
I don't think
where like
so.
Both teams just kept playing around his lifeless body. It's like, what is going on right now? So yeah, that's what the refs could not have cared less that he was near death.
So a terribly officiated one, but that one wasn't really going well for the Blazers in a lot of regards. The Pistons one we could have pulled out if not for Kris Murray trying to lose, I guess. But
that's brutal.
Yeah. So the Blazers go 0-2, drops us to 9-15. Yeah, 9-15.
Yeah, God, that's not good.
4-11 in our past. 4-12 in our past. We were 5-3 at one point, right? So 4-12.
That sounds about right.
In our last 16 games, which is
it's not good.
Not good. That
to be fair, it's like, and I hate saying this because it sounds way too like annoyingly optimistic. It's as good of a 4-12 as you can get.
Yeah.
For the most part. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, a ton of close wins. Some of them to really good teams. Some wins over good teams, like objectively Cleveland, objectively Golden State when they're all healthy, right? But just frustratingly never winning, except for the Bucks game pretty much, like never really. I had the Cavs game too. Anyways, the point I'm trying to make is like never really like dominating the game, just always coming up a little bit short. So frustrating, but like not the worst 4-12 you've ever seen, I think. And obviously the big story is injuries, right? Yeah. But I just think at a certain point, and we'll talk about that, maybe that point is right now. at a certain point, the wins, you just got to start winning the games, no matter who's out there, no matter what's happening. And I think I think I've hit the personal end of my rope where I'm comfortable being like, yeah, that was fat loss was fine. I think that Grizzlies one was the one that like kind of pushed me into like, I mean, I tweeted out on our Twitter yesterday. I'm now officially a little bit worried about my Ayton bet. If for those of you who didn't watch the original video,
What was it again?
Of me, I would wear a DeAndre Ayton jersey for a month if we didn't hit our win total of 34, and I think we have to win 36 games.
Okay.
So now I'm officially a little bit worried about that.
By the way, I mean, this is beside the point. Are you as mad as I am that Ayton's like tricking the Lakers fan base?
It's working. I mean,
he's doing an incredible job.
I think JJ Redick still sees through his antics.
Yeah.
But I think he is working as well as they like wanted him to be in every other regard.
Well, he's in the greatest situation of all time.
All time.
But this is it's not that I'm DA seems like a good guy. I'm good with him playing well. That doesn't bother me. What does bother me is all these like tweets that are like, man, like now that he's finally escaped that franchise, like look what they were doing to him. Like they took his joy out. I'm like, what? What?
Don't you ever?
That is we coddled him for the most part.
Totally.
Like which whatever. That's not a bad thing. But like we gave him every opportunity. We did not treat DeAndre Ayton poorly. The organization, the fan base, we should have been harder on him.
Yeah. No,
so I don't. God, that makes me so angry.
He got every opportunity to be like a real player and be a leader, and that's not what he wants.
No, he wants to be fed passes by Doncic and LeBron and make only the easiest shots on the planet, while like looking the part on defense right now, which I'm not happy. I'm baffled by it because it pisses me off. Because that really means that because I saw Redick say he had a perfect defensive game the other day.
Really?
And they asked him about that. He's like, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. DA said that. He's like,
okay,
I wasn't trying. So I don't know. It's frustrating because that means he had it in him, which obviously we always knew he had it in him. But
well, regardless, I think the Lakers are maybe an example of a team that I think they're even like tricking people with all of their wins, and maybe tricking is the wrong word, but like their numbers don't say that they're a team with as many wins as they should have.
I mean, I don't know if our viewers know this, but I'm a secret huge LeBron fan. So like I'm in a tough spot right now where I'm not supposed to root for the Lakers. I'm not supposed to root for DA, but I want to see LeBron get one more. Yeah. So I'm kind of hoping it's real.
Yeah. But that all being said, the Lakers are putting together wins above their pay grade, and the Blazers, it feels like, are putting together losses below their pay grade.
I don't know. Yeah, that's such a good question. Like, are we doing worse than I think we should be?
Yeah.
Would you say yes?
I think I would say yes, but I also think like the numbers kind of don't lie either, and they say like this is a 9-win team right now is kind of where we're supposed to be at.
I think it mostly makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that really bothers me is, still is the defense. The defense should be better. I would say we're like one, at most 2 games below what I think we should be at.
Yeah.
But if I knew that we would be, I'm guessing we are the most unhealthy team in the NBA, right?
It's got to be. I haven't seen a metric like that that's out there or anything that's floating around, but like at least for the fact that all of our injuries have come to all of our point guards and then to all of our centers, our 2, good centers in the Memphis game, right? Like the fact that one position is so depleted, I think makes such a big difference.
B-Ball Index has a stat that I don't know if they've updated it yet, but it's like a losses due to injury stat.
Yeah.
And I wondered last time I checked, which is like 2 weeks ago, wasn't updated yet.
Yeah.
For this year. But I don't know if that's updated yet. But yeah, I would say I don't know, if I knew we had the hardest schedule in the league and I knew that we were the unhealthiest team in the league and we were 9-15 and we're still in the play-in, I'd be like, so basically we're at the very end of me being fine. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Where it's like if we lose against the Pelicans and drop out of the play-in, no longer fine.
Yeah.
If we win that, we get a little healthier, have an easier schedule, I think it's going to go well. But I still think we're fine, but it's at the very
We're
possible.
at the end of the rope, yeah. So I think you and I will look at the end of this episode, we'll look ahead and talk pretty in-depthly about the schedule coming up and what it means. So stay tuned for that. But yes, I think I agree with you. We've run out of our list of excuses, which are very long and warranted. But now with this big, like, kind of early season break, it's time to flip the script, right?
Yeah, we have an easy schedule, and we should be getting healthier. So now's the time to get some wins.
Yeah. So with that in mind, I think now is a good time for you and I to take a step back and assess the play of our players kind of on their own. You know, there's been a lot of players who've been thrust into roles we didn't expect or want them to ever be in this season, but they're doing it. There's been players who've been relied upon extremely heavily, and there's been players who have taken that dutifully, and there have been players who have stumbled along the way. So I think what you're going to do here is just go down the list. I think we just literally go in order of minutes played for the team this season. So kind of give you a feel for how many guys have played how much for the team so far this year as we go in that order. And we'll just kind of each give our player grades and talk a little bit about each one. All right, well, without further ado, let's start with the man himself, Deni Avdija. He's played in every one of the Blazers games so far this season, 824 minutes played. What's your grade for Deni so far this season?
I might come across as a hater in this video, but I think it's an A. I give him an A. But I want to preface that with I think there's a difference between an A and an A+. We're including A+, which I know that's a hilarious thing. He's an A, but not an A+.
Yeah, right.
But he is, which it sounds wild because he has single-handedly carried us this entire season. But, there's still just a couple things that irk me.
Yeah.
Which is why it's actually one thing. The one thing that irks me is because I'm going to go in about how amazing he is in a second, but I want people to know why I'm not giving him like 100% A+ grade. But it's getting back on defense.
Sure.
And it's like starting to kill me.
Yeah.
There's 2 to 3 plays a game, I think, where we legitimately lose like 4 to 6 points because of him not getting a foul call, complaining to the refs, and then the other team scoring in transition. However, let's get that out of the way.
Yeah.
He has been, I think, the guy who has hit the ceiling prediction that we had for all of our players before this, more so than anybody.
Right.
He might be the only guy, because we were getting wild with some of our takes about what our guys' ceilings are. I think he's gone above that. So, but with that, there still is, when you're that good, when you're that incredible, you almost have to nitpick a little bit, which is why I don't want to give him the full A+ yet, because that would be saying that he is perfect. If he can just get back on defense, I don't think I'd have a single complaint about him. Because when he is back on defense, he's solid.
Right.
But he's the only reason we're not the worst team in the NBA right now.
For sure.
I truly believe that. You watch the games, the difference from when he's on the court and off the court offensively it's got to be the most in the league.
I think it's second. At least it was like a couple days ago.
Isn't it like Zach Edey number 1 or something?
No, I don't know who's number 1.
Oh no, he's number 1 for defense.
Yeah. Deni's second for offense, I think. I think number 1 is Jokic. That would make sense, right? But to be second to Jokic is pretty incredible.
Will you feel that impact?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what you and I are always talking about. Like we, obviously it's good if the ball goes in, if guys look good, blah, blah, blah. We're like looking at who is impacting the team winning. And he is impacting this team winning more than anyone in my lifetime but Damian Lillard for this team.
Yeah.
I have a question. We can get into this another time. Is Deni already a top 10 Blazer?
I saw someone post, I think it was Sleeper Blazers posted about that.
Someone posted that already?
Asking the question. I think it is a little early because it's been one season where we're 9-15.
I know. Because that's the other thing. I'm talking about how much he's carrying us, which he is. But it's the difference between A and A+ is that he's carrying us to a 9-15 record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? An A+ player might get us around 500.
Right. I understand that.
He's been incredible.
Yeah, I gave him an A+.
You gave him an A+?
I went to the full A+ because
nice.
and actually hearing your reasoning, I even kind of do want to go back to an A. I think that's a perfect reason to not go all the way there, which I hadn't really thought of, but it has been irking me as well. I just went to A+ because it's like you couldn't have started before this season and rightfully asked for any better than what he's doing. You couldn't ask for really better shooting, better ability to get to the free throw line, better passing. He's being a leader. Again, like the not getting back is kind of lead by example, but Jerami taught him that trick. So, so I just think that like especially with everything going on around him, for him to be putting up these numbers, it's like there's no room in my brain where you could have asked me before the season to be like if Deni did this, is this not an A+? And I have to sit here and be like, he's doing A+ level stuff to keep this team afloat.
An A+ is a 97 and above, right?
Yeah.
So I think to me he's like a 96.8.
Sure. Yeah. And that's like, it's just like, and he's in the 98th percentile of outcomes, or the 96th percentile of outcomes you could have asked for him. So there's the complaints, are very, very low for Deni. And obviously anyone can get better, but I think as this team gets better around him, that's where he'll become even more efficient, even more, he can get even more impactful. He just like with the people he's passing to, it's incredible that he has as many assists as he does.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And he is, I've said this last 2 episodes. I just want to get this in everyone's brain. He is the star player that we've been looking for.
Yes.
Without a doubt. He is the guy. We can stop being like, we need a superstar.
Yeah.
We have it. We have Deni.
Yeah. We've actually completely flipped, and we have the superstar, and all of the role players actually kind of
now suck. Yeah.
In that regard, the second most minutes on the team, also the other player who's played in every single game, is Toumani Camara at 807 minutes, 17 less than Deni. So the 3-point shooting, it's gotten better as of the past handful of games, ticking up in that regard. And the defense, I think a lot of people have been very hard on Toumani, and rightfully so, because I think the expectations were high. So I think a lot of people's grades, you definitely see some trolls, not even trolls, but just ignorant people, I guess, call it an F. I don't think it's quite that far, obviously.
No.
But I think you would see those things thrown around there. I gave him a C. And I think that's because he's obviously he's been a workhorse. He's got he's top 2 in miles traveled.
Yeah.
He's very, I think him and Deni are super high up there in terms of total percentage of team minutes played. Him and Deni are just doing everything every night. And Toumani's trying to be that kind of huge difference maker in defensive impact, like Deni is an offensive impact. It's just not it's a much, much harder thing to do as an individual. And I think that's where he's losing a lot of ground, is he's trying to, like we've said a lot, he's trying to do too much and it's holding him back. So the defense has been fine. The offense has been fine. And I'm appreciative of how, and that's below where I wanted it to be going into this season. But I'm appreciative of how much he is doing just from a minutes, shots, just straight up, he's doing so much. So that's why I feel it's not in the D range where he's just completely underperforming expectations. He's just got a huge amount on his plate, and he's kind of struggling to deal with it. But I think it's, the silver lining there is it's hopefully helping him grow faster and turn into someone you can maybe count on more to be that if it comes down the line later where we need him like that in the playoffs or something.
Yeah, I gave him a C-.
Yeah.
I completely agree with, he has a lot on his plate. He's being asked to do a lot, but my take on that is, and I've said this before on this show, is compare him to Deni, who's being asked to do an equal amount. One delivers more and more every game. One has not delivered.
Yeah.
Toumani. And of course, he's being asked to do a lot, but to me, if you're not able to deliver on that, it just kind of shows a level of player you are.
Yeah.
Which is not an insult, but it's just kind of just the truth. A of course he's being asked to do a lot, but you're supposed to be that level of player.
Yeah.
All you're showing is that you're not really that level of player yet. His defense has been disappointing. It has not been like this awful, terrible, horrible that people have tried to make it out to be.
Mm-hmm.
But he's shown, I think, so far, and I think this will change, that, for how much ask there is for him on defense, he's kind of doing too much and hasn't been able to balance that well with actually being a super All-NBA effective defender.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the big question here is, if the season ended today, is Toumani an All-NBA defender? That's what his expectation is. No. Right? And his shooting has gone down. It's been better in recent games. He has lost us 2 games with some really bad late defensive blunders, and probably lost us another 1 or 2 because of horrible shooting. So yeah, he's being asked to do a lot, but to me, it explains things, but it doesn't really matter when you're measuring the impact of a player. But I mean, he's gonna play better. I have no doubt about that. He just, to me, showed that he's not quite that level of guy where you can ask him to do more and he's going to deliver. He's showing to be a role player.
Yeah.
And, role players, it's the difference between a role player and an all-star like Deni. Deni, when he's asked to do more, shows that if he needs to, he can. Toumani showing that he is better if he's in a role that, or not better, but effective when he's in a role that suits him best.
Yeah.
Which is true for any player, but like I said, it's a difference between a role player and all-star, where you need to be in a certain role to be effective, as opposed to Deni, who can be effective basically in any role. So when everyone gets back, he's going to look better. He's going to play better, but so far he has not quite delivered on what he's been asked to do, and that's fine. But yeah, C- for me.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Well, next up is Jerami Grant, who has played 683 minutes into all but one of the games this year. He started 11. He was in a good running for 6th Man of the Year award before he stopped being a 6th man, because we needed him to start the games. He's averaging 19.5 points, 3.8 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1.4 stocks a game, 2 turnovers. What is your grade for Jerami Grant so far this year?
A-. I think A-. I think he's been awesome. I mean, I think he's, as Jerami Grant defenders, you and I, it's been such an amazing season for us, because we stayed strong on that.
Yeah.
We really, really did. And I think he's proven to be exactly who he is. He's playing like he should and how he has in the past. He's getting to the line now like a maniac.
Oh, yeah.
He's back to being a great 3-point shooter on one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league. It's immeasurably important how his shooting has been for this team. I like that he has, decided, instead of trying to finesse shots, which was not working for him well last season around 2, he's just getting in the foul line. And it's been awesome. He's been okay defensively. He's kind of back to where I thought he was pre-Toumani is the way I'll put it.
Okay.
When he was with Dame, I thought his defense was really overrated.
Yeah.
I thought, it's not that he's being asked to do a lot right now, because he isn't really, but he's being asked to do more than last year. And I thought last year in the second half of the season, he was fantastic defensively. And he's another guy that, when he's put in a role that suits him best, which is, being a guy who can just use his length in passing lanes and in help while playing next to guys like, Clingan, Toumani, Deni, Jrue, like he can really be effective. But he's just the way his minutes have been staggered in the lineups he's been in the right lineups, he's been good defensively. But I think he's a guy who is the fourth best defender on the floor that you could ask for.
Yeah.
And when you ask for more of that, it's just, you just can't quite live up to that. But he's still been okay defensively, fine defensively. His shooting is great. I am so happy because he's exactly what this team needs. And it has proven us right. And I think he has proven that he needs to start on this team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is awesome.
I think that's definitely a big question we need to ask. And, Shaedon's been staying on the bench even through all this, like starting other guys, staying with CD over him. So maybe he's actually getting put on that bench role permanently. Yeah. We'll see. But, yeah, that's definitely a conversation that needs to be had. I give him an A. And
Nice.
I was between A- and A, and I gave him an A just because of what everyone else said about him going into the season. Because I think if you asked half this fan base, they would have no choice but to tell you he's an A++,
Yeah,
because of what they thought he was or what they
sure.
expected him to be going into the season. So I leaned A in that regard, but I agree with everything you said. I mean, we just need a catch and shoot 3-point option. He's been that. He's a scorer. When it was off the bench, we needed that. When it's in the starting lineup, we need that. I saw a stat the other day that Deni and Jerami are both getting double teamed on a percentage of when they touch the ball more than Luka and Jokic and SGA, both of them, which everyone in the comments was right to tell me that that's more of a product of the people around them than themselves. But I think it just goes to show you that Jeremy is scoring nearly 20 points per game while being doubled at a top 4 rate in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I think it's very impressive. And like you said, the defense is it's good enough. It's good. It's fine.
Yes,
It
fine.
helps. And I didn't really want him. I didn't really expect him to be like a lockdown defender because I didn't think we needed that. And he weirdly has a really high defensive rating. I still don't on and off and a really low on-off rating. I still can't understand why that is, but
Well, I feel like he's put with all of our worst defensive lineups.
yeah, they did put him out there the other day. It was like CD, Rupert, Kris Murray, Hansen, and Jeremy. And
Yeah.
it's like kind of feeding him to the Sharks. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think A minus right in that range. You cannot have really asked much of Jeremy especially after how last season looked. Fourth up in minutes is Shaedon Sharpe,
I'm really excited to hear what you think. What do you think?
Missed 4 games.
We're the certified Shaedon Sharpe haters of the Blazers.
I think
family.
we're starting to at least if you guys aren't recognizing it or talking about it, we are at least starting to say it ourselves.
Yeah.
And as the
not haters, we're not.
We're
haters.
the Shaedon realists, I think is kind of how I want to put it. And in that regard, I mean this is probably unfair. I said D+.
Okay.
And it's
The reason I'm
so
laughing.
it's so mean.
I know. I just know that people are gonna get really mad, and it's just I feel bad because we are not Shaedon haters at all. But I just think we are.
I think we're just trying. I think
we're
what we're
calling it
trying.
how we see it.
Yeah, I just think what we're trying to do is uncover the things that are hard to see with a player like him that hold us back. Because look, he's averaging 21.1 points per game.
Yeah.
He's averaging 4.8 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 2.9 turnovers. So the assist turnover ratio is negative there. He's shooting 43.8% from the field, which, to be fair, is the same as Jeremy. He's shooting 26.4% from 3.
Yeah.
I shared these stats today and yesterday on Blazers lead, but we are the worst 3-point shooting team in the league now, official. And of players with at least 85 3-point attempts this season, the number 100 of the 176 players, I think that is, that fill into that stat. Caleb Love is last with 26.1%, I think, from 3, and Shaedon Sharpe is second to last with 26.4% from 3. So I hear all of the time that the Blazers need shooters. Like, screw you, Joe Cronin, you didn't get us any shooters. This is why we suck. We're not the worst 3-point shooting team in the league because we don't have Corey Kispert. We're the worst 3-point shooting team in the league because we have Shaedon Sharpe. And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And Caleb Love obviously is, someone we've had to force in, and he's never really been that good of a 3-point shooter, and that's really kind of what's really dragging us down. But if you eliminated their makes, I mean, we're a pretty fine 3-point shooting. Shot attempts, sorry. We're a pretty fine 3-point shooting team.
Yeah.
Shaedon has these counting stats because he's the Huck Lord. He gets to have so many shots. I mean, he has the most shot attempts on the team. He has 1.2 more than Deni. And this is just like averages per game. And if you're doing counting ones, Deni might have a little bit more. But like, Man, I mean, I guess I'm happier that he's getting to the free throw line a bit more. And he's hitting his free throws, so that's helping from a scoring perspective. But the defense has also gotten worse as the season has gone on. I like that he's getting some steals, but he's playing that aggressive style that I think you and I were kind of hoping he was going to be able to play with 4 incredible defenders around him. But when that's happening, he's just going for a steal, missing, and guys are getting layups.
Yeah.
He's not able to keep anyone in front of him, especially down the stretch of close games.
Yeah.
He's good at getting to the hoop, but he's not any better than last year. His mid-range is not effective overall. They look pretty when they go in. But I just like, at the end of the day, if your three-point shot, if you're going to be the 176th worst shooter in the NBA, I don't know how I want to describe that. If you're going to be the worst three-point shooter in the NBA, it's a moniker we've used for him before. As a 6'6" guard who can't defend, I just don't know what else to give you besides a D+. A D+ because it looks cool. That's just really what it is. And so I part of this can be put on Tiago and the coaching staff maybe, and just everyone in general for allowing this so much. And I think that's why maybe Tiago's trying to put him back on the bench. But man, he's got to buy in to not taking that many shots and that many threes very soon, because it's an effect that we can't really see out in the open, but it's really, really hurting us.
Yeah, I gave Shea. I'm a little more positive, I think, than you, just slightly. I give him a C-. And the reason for that, the reason I'm not like totally like, completely down, is I do think that he has found a role that I can see him in as a 6-man / bench scorer. If we are talking about him like in comparison to, is he showing he is a first option 2-way all-star, then it's like, you give him like an F for that. You know what I mean? Because he's not shown that at all. But to me, I really can see him as he gets better being a really good 6-man. And that's why I'm like, I give him the C-, because like, it's been disappointing, but what we've been asking for since like game 10 was, let's see how we can do on the bench. And he still hasn't been great, but it's less, it's been less detrimental. And I can see the vision of what he could mean to this team when it's good.
Yeah.
Because the questions for the season was, there's not, the questions for the seasons were, there's no really good guard in the NBA who can't shoot and can't play defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the 2 most important things to being a shooting guard. Can you shoot and can you play defense?
Can you shoot? Can you guard?
And can you guard? Yeah, it's like, it's basketball.
Yeah.
That's basketball. Has he shown he can shoot? No, he's gotten much worse than last season when he was already arguably the worst 3-point shooter in the NBA. Has he shown he can guard? No. Is it better than last year? Absolutely. I'm no longer, wanting to die watching him play defense, but he's still, I would say, mediocre defensively, because you can talk about how, great of a finisher he is. You can talk about how pretty the mid-range shot looks, which is true when it goes in. He's not as good of a mid-range shooter as I think people make him out to be. And there's every statistic backs that up. He's an incredible finisher, but at the same time, it's like, dude, this is a guy who's getting 20 points a game every night.
Yeah.
Which is where it gets like tough to really be so down on him, because there's very few guys on the planet who can do that.
Yeah.
But he's a very I see him as like a very old school 6-man, which you don't see a lot of those guys anymore nowadays, because you need guys who can shoot, you need guys who can play defense. But I think he's elite enough as a finisher to be a guy who can be like a poor man's DeRozan, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big DeMar DeRozan defender. I think he's one of the most underrated players ever. But like that similar vein where you're like but DeRozan's one of the best mid-range shooters of all time, and I don't think Shaedon's quite at that level, obviously. But he's a guy who's gonna get us points, and we need those points. He needs to take less shots. He more than anything just needs to take less threes. Because if he was a guy who took like 3 threes a game, and then just either didn't take those shots or took those other shots more at the hoop. Preferably didn't take those shots. But if he's a guy who took 3 threes a game and then everything else was at the hoop, you'd be like, oh, this is like a really good, effective six-man scorer.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's taking 9 threes a game and he's, when he gets more shots than anyone when he's on the court, it's hurting us. It really is. It is objectively hurting us. And maybe this is what we need to. I saw a great comment. Someone responded to me on Reddit that was like, Shaedon is having these growing pains, and sadly, we're feeling the effect of those.
Yeah.
It's like you can't really argue one way around it. We are seeing the negative effects of having to see Shaedon grow. And it's his 4th season in the NBA. At a certain point, it's like, how much longer are we going to let Shaedon have these growing pains when it's hurting the team when we're actually trying to win games? But I'm hopeful that when he comes back and there's more guys to take those shots, he'll take less threes, which I know we didn't see that at the beginning of the season, but I think he was also trying to be a first option. But to me, so far, and I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but so far he's proven he's not improved as a shooter, still a mediocre defender, and he's not a guy you can trust as a first or second option in a starting lineup because he also can't play off ball. Yeah. That's the main thing, dude. He's such a bad off-ball basketball player. So, but I see the role. I see like a more efficient Shaedon Sharpe being a great 6-man on this team.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we could go on, and we got more guys to get to, so I'll leave it there. But yeah. I just think we're trying to be hard on Shaedon because it's like time. It's time that we just he either figures it out, sink or swim time. Like I'm kind of sick of it, and we gave him that contract extension, so he might be stuck with him for a while. But yeah.
And 2 more things. We gave that, which I've said this a million times before, but I want people to realize that we paid him 6-man money. We paid him 5th starter, elite 6-man money. That's clearly what I think obviously the organization is hoping we got a steal and he's going to be an all-star, but we gave him the money that I think he warrants, which is 6-man type money. And also, I've said this a million times too, but I don't want to fully, obviously I'm not giving up on him at all, but I don't want to fully not be super hopeful until I see him put on muscle. Because I still think the biggest problem is he just gets he can't get past guys because his handle's weak. But he also can't get past guys because he's not strong enough. He can't really commit to guarding guys because he's not strong enough. He still looks so slim. I will be less hopeful in a couple of years if he still hasn't put on muscle. But I still think that if he can bulk up, that can be the thing that turns it into a solid, borderline all-star.
Yeah, That's the other problem with it. It's like, why hasn't he done that? Why is his shot more flat?
Yeah.
Right? Why, when the game comes down to it, is he not more amped up? Why does he just get a foul called on him and then walk away and not say anything? Like the kind of intangible flaws that we see on the side just also haven't gotten better. So I just think I think it warrants a D+ in my mind. All right, let's kind of
we'll run through
up
the rest,
through these. Yeah. I think those are the 4 big guys that need explanation with their grades a little bit more. What is your grade, Brad, for Kris Murray, who actually has played more minutes than Clingan this year?
Is that wild? He's playing 25 minutes a game. And I've seen this argument we who cares that we drafted Hansen because, and I'm not saying Hansen's a bust at all yet, but I've seen the argument that's been Cedric Howard, whose minutes would he even take? And it's Kris Murray's.
He would be Kris Murray.
25 minutes a game. And he's arguably not an NBA player.
Yeah.
I think I'm more up on Kris than most people. I'd give him a C+. And that's not to say he's I don't know if he's an NBA player, but there's games where I think he's our best defender. He's improved on shooting, but still is clearly not a great shooter. He single-handedly lost us that Pistons game. He's put on muscle, and I think it's shown because he's improved as a guy who can get at the hoop, and he puts those little 2-handed dunks up way more often now. He can be more physical with guys. I've really liked his defense, but he's still just overall a complete negative on offense.
Yeah.
But I've liked his defense and I like his improvement on shooting, but in his muscle he's added on, but he's clearly just struggles with confidence with shooting.
Yeah. I was a little nicer in that regard. I gave him a B.
Nice.
And it might have even been a little higher if he didn't lose that Pistons game. But I think he's single-handedly made that small ball lineup work that has won us a couple of games. So he
True.
stepped
That's
into
true.
that role. He is playing good defense when not really many people on this team are. Like I'm not even really walking away from games being like Toumani had 8 great individual defense that game. I'm walking away from games being like Kris played great individual defense that game.
I completely agree.
He's a good offensive rebounder. That's a niche role that he's fitting.
Mhm.
He's shooting better from 3 than his brother. So
I know,
that's
isn't that wild? I
that's
saw
something.
that too. I was looking up Keegan's stats the other day.
So that's something to take away. Like I think we knew Kris was going to be a 0 on offense, and I think he's been a 3% offensive contributor, right? Like
Yeah.
he's hitting his free throws more than Shaq, right? Like it's
Yeah.
stepped up a little bit, and I do think the defense has been great. I think he's gotten a bit worse recently, so I think it's starting to kind of trend downwards. But again, he's one of those players that needs to fit in around good players. So
Agreed. I'm really excited to see him be a 10-minute a game player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't mean that. I really mean that. I think he could be a really solid on a fully healthy Blazers team, a really solid 10-minute per game guy who can come in and give you good defense when he's not being asked to do literally anything else.
He should not be playing as many minutes as he has, and it's just
Exactly.
kind of the case. That in it of itself is the situation that we've put ourselves in. We're having to trust on Kris Murray as our 5th most played player.
Yeah, if he was playing 10 minutes, I'd probably give him like a B+.
Yeah.
But he's being asked to do a lot. He's also not really delivering. But I've liked the defense, and I hope he gets more confident with his shot.
Just below him in minutes is Clingan, with 21 games played, 530 minutes. I gave Clingan a B-. He's had some really great games. He's had some poor games.
Yeah.
I think the most overarching thing of why it's a B- for me is that like the expectations were kind of high, and I didn't really expect him to get played off the court in certain scenarios like he has been, or like deferred to for a Kris Murray. Like I thought he was gonna be in like Gobert is, like you can play him at all times, but he seems to, whether it's offense or defense,
which you can with Gobert. There's gonna be people going to disagree with that. Gobert is usually 99% of the time very playable.
Yeah, and he was actually like, I don't know if you watch any of that Suns Timberwolves game the other day, but he went out with an injury at the end of the game, and they couldn't get a stop. They couldn't stop calling Gillespie for their life. So, yeah, he's had really good flashes, and he's still a young player that's growing. I think rather than like an A- or a B+, it's just a B- because he's feeling more niche than I thought he was going to be.
That's a good take. Yeah, I gave him a B.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason because I completely see what you're saying. The reason he was feeling more niche is because he was adapting to, the new style of offense, the new pace and everything. And I thought that he, for like 2 weeks, really figured it out.
Yeah.
And was looking incredible. And because the first stretch of the season, I agree, he looked niche. And then I felt like he got a feel for it and he figured it out and he started looking like how we expect him to.
Mm-hmm.
A like dominant defensive player, incredible rebounder. Like I think that Bulls game.
Yeah.
Which was like one of the best center performances I've seen from a guy on this team in years. And then he got hurt. And I think he's underratedly been hurt since then and trying to play through injuries because he suddenly started looking pretty mediocre.
Yeah.
Not being able, because I've been a big defender of him as a 3-point defender. The first 20 games of the season, or not 20 games,
like 15
games of the season, he was statistically our best. There was more threes taken on him than anyone on the team, and he had the best opposing field goal percent, meaning like guys shot the worst from 3 when Clingan was being. I thought he showed that he could be a guy who could just by pure effort and length close out on threes despite being massive. But then he's had that that leg injury, which he finally is getting rest for.
Yeah.
And he looked really rough during that. So that's why I give him a B, because I think he was figuring it out. It looked mixed. A lot of good, some bad, the first 10 games. Then he had that 5-game stretch where I thought he looked incredible. Then he got hurt and it kind of, I'm unsure of which side we're going to see quite yet. If he really did figure out and he just got hurt, or if he's got a good stretch of games, I'm really, really excited because I think it's going to be amazing. I think he's going to go back to dominating now that we've had now that we've had this long break. And he's going to hopefully be healthy by the time he comes back against the Pelicans tomorrow.
Yeah. He needs
So I have high expectations, but you're completely right. It has so far been a B minus.
Yeah. 7th on the team is still Jrue Holiday in terms of total minutes played, even though he's only played in 12 games. I don't know how you. I mean, did you give him a rating?
Yeah. I gave everyone a rating.
I gave Jrue, Matisse, and Blake 2 different ones, which was one where we saw what we saw from them when they were on the court, and then one how I would judge it given the fact, like, injury included. So I'll let you give yours first, and then I'll give mine after. But what did you give Jrue for a grade?
I gave Jrue a B. I thought Jrue has shown that he is Jrue Holiday on offense. He's been asked to be more of a, or when he was playing, was asked to be more of a point guard.
Yeah.
Which before he got hurt, I was like, I don't want to see him be this much of a point guard.
Yeah.
I want him to play more of the role that he played on, the Bucks and Celtics. He even wasn't this much of a point guard on the Bucks.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought, I think Deni should have the ball in his hands less than what he has now, but more than he had with Jrue. And I want Jrue to be slightly more off ball, which he 100% can be. He's incredible. Anything you ask him to do offensively. But also as a way to give him more energy on defense. Cause I've seen people talk about how he's like still this incredible defender, which I think he could be, but I've been disappointed with him defensively when he played. And I think that's something that people should acknowledge that, if we're 22nd in defense, you can't say Jrue's been great, Toumani's been great, Kris has been great, Jeremy's been great, Donovan's been great. If you're 22nd in defense, some guys have to be sucking. And I think Jrue, I wouldn't say sucking, but has been
lackluster.
I think when he's still really good one-on-one, but I think his help defense and recovery has been it's been awful. Yeah. He gambles a lot defensively when he's playing off ball, and then he's just terrible at closing out.
Yeah.
And I've talked about this before in this episode, but I made my brother, and we were watching that Rockets game. We recorded it, and I rewinded on like 3 straight possessions, be like, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Like where he loses us points by I think because he's 35 and just doesn't have the energy to really close out hard and also being asked to be the main point guard on the team.
Yeah.
But it's another thing where I'm really excited to see him when he comes back, because I hope he and Deni will split ball handler responsibilities instead of being like Jrue's the full-time point guard. I think Deni's shown that he needs to be for kind of half point Deni. Yeah. As instead of full point Deni, I want to see him be half point Deni. Jrue can be more off ball and hopefully use that energy more defensively to be that elite defender, because that's what we need him more for now. We've shown that Deni can be kind of a point guard in this team. We don't need Jrue to be quite what he was, like a little bit less, and then on offense, a little bit more on defense.
Yeah. I think it was so important when Jrue could stagger with Deni to keep things in check. I think that was a really big piece that we're missing when he went out. And playing off of Deni more, I think he'll be totally malleable to that. I gave him a B+ for what he has shown, which is kind of just goes in line with what you're saying. Like, he's Jrue Holiday, he can get you buckets if you need, and we needed, but there's definitely room for improvement. He could be trying a little bit more. I give him a C- overall, and the overall takes into account availability, right? Which I think is just such an important thing in this day and age. And
you're right.
There's freak injuries, which I think Matisse and Blake had, were kind of more of. And there's, we took on a guy who's 36 years old and his calf is hurting, and we don't know when he's coming back. And just the reality of the situation is like, he's showing up as a 0 on the box score, and it's something that we expected, and it's something that could come back. Like, Matisse isn't going to sprain his thumb again. Like,
I don't know. He might. Matisse loves these like Looney Tunes type injuries.
Yeah. But we'll get to the two of them like at the very end, Blake and Matisse. But yeah, it just sucks that he's not available. But it's like, I give him a C- for that overall, because it's predictable that he was not going to play some time this season, and that's what we got. So you've got, people are slandering Anthony, but He's played in every game, and he's shooting 40% from 3 this year. So say what you will, but
we're happy we got Jrue.
Yeah.
I think we would take Jrue over Ant, but or at least I would. Would you?
No, I would. But just when the reality is, we're so hurt. It's like, well, you traded for a 36-year-old guy, right? Like it's just kind of the reality.
It's exactly what we said the negatives were when we traded Ant.
Yeah.
It's like I think you said we got a guy that might only play 50 games.
Yeah.
And I actually was more like, I think he'll be fine. Health-wise. And I said I think we're going to be the worst three-point shooting team in the league now. Both those things have come true.
Yeah. Next, 8th on the list is CD Sissoko.
I thought so.
And I'm happy I go first because
you're the CD, so you got to go first.
I
am
claiming the throne of the CD Sissoko fan club because I think he obviously is not a scorer yet or a shooter yet, maybe ever. But in my eyes, he does everything else good. And good is all you can ask for out of what this situation is and what you expected out of him. I gave him an A.
I love it.
Because, he started 9 games now. He's getting starts over Shaedon, which, Tiago sees something that's important there. I think he's a really smart player. I think he makes creative passes. I think he makes the right play more often than not.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the times when stuff does go wrong for him, it's overzealous fouls. It's like trying to fit a pass in a tight window that doesn't work, but who go watch Deni try to play that, So his 3-point percentage is like middle of the pack on the team.
What's it at right now?
He is 7th on the team in 3-point shooting out of 16 of players.
What's his percentage?
31.9%.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So
God, we suck at shooting.
We suck at shooting. So I think he's stepped into a role that no one ever thought he would step into, and he's done great. And I think he's truly a role player we can use for the future, and he's a depth piece. And we didn't think we were going to get that, but the fact that out of Rupert, everyone's playing minutes. But the fact that CD Sissoko looks good in my eyes, I think is nothing short of an A. And an A+, he'd be an A+ if he was shooting like 35% from 3.
Yeah, I give him a B+ because like we've talked about, it's like he's exactly what you need in a 14th man or whatever he is, where we are down so many guys, we can play him 20 to 30 minutes a game and just because we have to, and we know he's not going to make any mistakes. I rarely am mad that CD Sissoko did something bad on the basketball court.
Yeah.
He does everything fine. He doesn't do anything great. He's not like an elite shooter. His passing's fine. He just goes out and we need him to someone who's not going to blow it, and he doesn't blow it.
Yeah.
He's doing everything we could ask of that position, of that role to do. He's also, gotten hot shooting and been a major part of 2 of our wins. I can't give him an A just because I can't give an A to someone who I preferably wouldn't want to play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see where you're coming from, the way you're thinking about it. And the way you're thinking about it, I agree that he's an A. But for me, he's a B+, just because, he's doing everything we need that guy to do.
Yeah. I just see the room for growth with him, and I think the trajectory.
I weirdly don't. I don't think he's going to get much better. I know he's 22 or whatever. I just don't see what archetype he is that he can improve on.
I don't know. I just think he can fill so many gaps, and he's a connector.
Yeah.
And I think the defense is pretty good, man. I don't know. I think from where he's grown from the beginning of this year to this year just is enough to warrant an A, and for me to warrant excitement in him. So I'm claiming him.
Sure. Are you going to get a Sissoko jersey?
I might have to, honestly.
Yeah.
After him is Caleb Love, who is quite the polarizing player. What grade did you give Caleb Love?
Can we say it at the same time on 3? Because I'm really curious how different it is. Because I'm really okay. You ready?
1,
2, 3.
C+.
Okay. For some reason, thought you were going to be like D+, D-. I don't know. He's another guy where it's like, of course, if we're talking about a guy, if he was a starter, who we're expecting to start, he'd be an F.
Yeah, right.
If he's a 15th man, it's like he's had 225. He's an undrafted rookie who shouldn't be getting minutes and who is 8th in scoring amongst rookies. Won us 2 games. He's won us 2 games by having 25 plus points. That is all you can ask for from that player.
Yeah.
He takes a million shots. He misses a million shots. 4 out of every 5 games is terrible, but he shouldn't be playing that many minutes. Those 1 out of 5 games that are good, I think, is more than you can ask for. I can't wait to see him play less minutes.
Yep.
But I like that when he checks into the game, there's hope.
Yeah.
There is hope. Like maybe today's a good Caleb Love game. It usually isn't, but the times it has been awesome, and I think that's all you can ask for from a 15th man.
I think I agree with everything you described. I just don't think that. I think that's where the C plus comes in. Not the. I can't push it to a B just because like I said, he's the worst 3-point shooter in the league. God, I fucking hate Slack.
But sometimes he's the best.
But yeah, I don't even know if he was the best in the Warriors game. He just like wasn't the worst.
It's like I felt the same way about Banton last year, where it's just like I can't get mad at a 15th man who randomly wins us games single handedly. But sorry, keep going.
Yeah, I mean that's just I agree. I just think that like when you win us 2 games single handedly, but are also the reason we lose at least like 3, and the reason we can't get into a couple more. It's like it gets into. It's just like a C plus because you won the Warriors game rather than like a C minus.
He also just gives me Scoot hope because when he plays well, we win, which like we've talked about shows that we're really just one more guy away from being good, and I think that's what Scoot's going to be.
Yeah, just a better in every regard. Caleb Love. Robert Williams. 10th in minutes, which is awesome. It's awesome that Robert Williams is 10th on the team in minutes because he could have not played at all. He didn't play at all the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Right? And almost fully for that reason, I gave him an A minus.
I'm trying to remember what I gave him. I'm actually going to think of a letter on the spot. Keep going.
I gave him an A minus. I mean, he's been impactful in the minutes he's been in. I don't think he's been perfect. But on a team that can't find able bodies to play, the fact that Robert Williams has played in 15 of our games and 230 total minutes is a W. It's just, I'm glad that he's out there. And when he is out there, he makes some awesome impacts. He blocks shots. He's smart. He basically coaches players up on the floor, guides them where to be. He's not going to score much for you, but he'll make the dunks when they're put there. He's a great role player to have when you can have him, and I'm just glad we've had him. So A minus.
Yeah, I give him a B plus, and because it's amazing he's playing. Because before the season we talked about like we're not even convinced we're going to see him play this year.
Yeah,
because it was beginning of the season, he still wasn't clear to play after missing 8 months or whatever. I give him a B plus just because the ramp up to him playing like Rob Williams was a little longer than I thought it would be.
Yeah,
because you drop him in after a year of missing basketball, he is jumping out of his socks and looking like he missed no time physically, which is incredible. And also in some ways bad because it's like, you feel the injury is like on its way, which I hate to say. But he always looks like no time has passed physically. But I just think like the instincts of, where to be, how to be super effective on both ends took a little longer than I thought it would. But these last 5 games he's played, he's looked awesome. If he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be like an A-plus guy for his role in the rest of the season.
Totally. I agree. Let's do the last 5 guys. We've had 16 players play. We're not gonna do Javonte Cooke, but let's do the last 5 guys just back and forth. What did you give Duop?
Duop A minus. I think Thiago uses him really well. He knows when to put him in the right situation to succeed, and he usually does. And he won us the biggest game of the season against OKC. I love Duop. I think he's been perfect for what we need. I
can get behind that. I gave him a B overall because I think there have been games where you've put him out there and Thiago's like, oh god, okay, this isn't working today.
True.
So I think that warrants down to a B. But yeah, for his role, and I mean, if you want to give Duop Reith an A+ because he helped us beat the Thunder, I will not.
That's how I feel.
I will not. Let that. I'll let that go for sure.
Yeah.
Repair, I gave a D because
F+ for me.
I just when it's supposed to be your time and you have nothing but opportunities in front of you and you can't take advantage of any of them, it just warrants a D. And it's over. We're gonna have to delete the Repair video
I know
that it's never there.
I would never apologize for that, for being wide-eyed and hopeful.
Yeah.
I will never.
It was just put on the wrong spot. It was supposed to go to Kris Murray. That's all that was.
And even that probably wouldn't have worked out. But yeah, he's there's times where I think he looks fine defensively.
Yeah, kind of.
He's humongous hands and I don't know why he sucks so bad.
Yeah.
I don't get it. He has all the physical tools to be a really solid wing, but he's shown absolutely nothing despite getting. That was a prediction. It's like, we're going to have injuries this year.
It's going to be your time. And
he's going to come in and he's going to show he's a rotational player, and he has not done that.
G League run. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you give Hansen? Really hard one, I think.
This is a really hard one. I'm giving it an F+ as well.
Oh, okay.
I know that sounds really almost like cruel, but my issue is not really with him as much as we've talked about. It is with how we've been asking him to play. We're trying to play the fastest team in the NBA, and he is, in my eyes, one of the slowest players in the NBA.
Yeah,
in the entire league. And what worries me, and here's the thing: you can say that it's way too early to fully judge a player, which it 1000% is, but you can also say there's still things that are worrisome.
Yeah.
He's still, the things that concern me that I don't think he can play out of is just his insanely, this is what we talked about before the season. It's like, I'm worried about his high, center of gravity, where it's like he's so high-hipped that he's not like Jokic where he can just absorb contact.
Yeah.
He's not really good at backing down guys, even though he's humongous, because he just does not absorb body contact well because he's so straight up. He's like a plank man,
right.
Which you see a lot from really big guys who just can't quite make it in the league because they're not built, even though they have the size, they don't have the agility to be built for it. But it's still just way too early to know what kind of player he is. But this entire season has had 2 good minutes of play against in that Grizzlies game, where I thought he had that sick move on Edey, and then had a really good stop on the other end. And people were kind of praising him that second half, and he looked far better in that first half, which was some of the worst basketball I've seen from an individual player this entire season on this team. He looked less horrible that second half and had a good couple possessions, but other than those 2 possessions, he just didn't really do much. It's just that he wasn't doing anything super terrible.
Yeah.
But it's so far away from giving up hope on him.
Yeah.
It's just that so far we haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I gave him, I think, the highest grade anyone could possibly give him, which is a C+. And I
love it.
We
need this. We need this
because of that Grizzlies second half, where if you look at that game on an isolated front, he got his first start. He's playing against Zach Edey, lets in 3 dunks, has an offensive foul, and I think another shooting foul or something, and then has to get taken out of the game. And it's like, okay, I think Lamar said this. It's like, he was the problem. He came out of the game because he was the problem. And he comes back in the second half and he plays hard. He plays smarter. He got better. He made some good plays. He took an absolute shot to the face. It felt like he kind of speed ran a learning period in that second half of the game, and he got better. So the reason I say C+ is because the expectations were supposed to be very low, and they were. And I know it's come out very poor, but he's done well in the G League. He showed a couple flashes in that Grizzlies game that I'm gonna hang on to.
I think he's done fine in the G League. I always compare this to Duop, where it's like Duop went to the G League and averaged 40 a game.
Yeah.
NBA guys do better than he's still so young, but anyways, yeah.
Yeah, 21-7-7 I think is still pretty solid. I think I have faith that he's learning quickly and keeping his spirits up, which is kind of all I want to see so far. So I'm gonna go with C+, but I don't really fault anyone saying an F. I wouldn't go any higher into the B's for sure.
Yeah.
Blake Wesley and Matisse obviously have not really played that much. Blake Wesley got 98 minutes, but I put him at an A+ when he was in. And
A+ for both of them. I thought they both were perfect when they played.
Yeah, I gave Matisse an A, I guess, but he only played 49 minutes. It's a real bummer that Matisse, from the same scale to the Jrue Holiday with the injury like I put, I still gave Blake an A+ because he just literally landed off a jump shot and broke his foot. And he's never had an injury before, so it's kind of pretty excused. And then Matisse, I gave a B because he was obviously injured all last year, but at least it was a hand injury and not something like a calf, and it was more of a freak accident, so he just seems like he's getting unlucky. But, yeah, that was a lot longer than we anticipated. I think you guys are realizing how much of Blazer nerds we are.
Yeah.
If you stuck through all of that, thank you. Let's look ahead for a handful of minutes too. Like we said, this will just be the longest episode we've had, and
which is okay. We can have these sometimes. You know, Young is also 1 of 16 from 3 this season.
He's like shooting 6% or something.
That's another thing that bothers. That's like there's certain things that like you want to see these guys build off of that like don't have to do as much with the growing pains. There's not much growing pains to going 1 of 16 from 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping he just gets more comfortable with it later.
Yeah.
But I the last thing I wanted to say on Hansen is that I think a lot of the slander towards him is all because of how good Cedric Coward is doing, how good guys like Derek Queen and Danny Wolf look. You and I talk about all the time. Like, we could have just gotten those guys. They're already NBA ready, and I don't know if Hansen will ever be better than those guys and how they're playing right now.
Yeah.
But when you're grading him as a player and what he's done based on his expectations, it's not fair to think about those guys when you're doing it. So that's why I went a little bit higher on him, because I think a lot of people would be lower because they'd be like, well, look at Cedric Coward. And it's like, yeah, well, look at basically anyone else. And yeah, I'll go F. But for what he is, for what he was expected to bring in, at least he's like happy, you know?
Yeah. My hope and expectation with Young is still that he's going to be a solid backup.
Yeah. Just going to take a lot longer. Maybe.
It's going to take longer.
Yeah. Cap off the longest episode in Blazers Are Cool history. Let's look ahead, because I think as we outlined in the beginning of this show, that this is kind of a turning point for the season, or needs to be. As everyone knows, we're 9-15. We've lost a lot of games in a short amount of time. But these are the next 9 games for the Blazers over the course of 18 days. 19 days if you include today. At the Pelicans, home versus the Warriors, home versus the Kings, at the Kings, home versus the Pistons, home versus the Magic, home versus the Clippers, home versus the Celtics, and home versus the Mavericks. That's the second night of a back-to-back. Though, I mean, I count 6 games we got to win.
Yeah.
And 3 more we can win. And if we don't come out of this at least over 500 in that stretch, then I'm just going to be worried, because then it's like, okay, now where do you find these wins? Or what becomes the motivation becomes harder and harder if you start to drop some of those games. Like if we lose one of the ones against the Kings, it's like we're just not taking care of business. And I think at least at like this point, like after some time to breathe, hopefully we get 1 or 2 guys back during that stretch. It's like, if you can't expect wins right now, then when can you? And then it becomes a different conversation.
Do you want to hear a hot take?
Yeah.
By the time we play the Rockets back-to-back on January 7th, I think we're going to be a 500 team.
That would be 6. That would be, so I laid out 9 games. That's 4 more. And that would be, let's see, 13 games. And we'd have to go 6 games above 500 in that stretch. So I think we'd have to go 10-3.
Is that right?
To get to 1 game above 500 by then?
Yeah, I think we can do it. I really do. I think that's 10 wins, you said?
10 wins.
Pelicans, Warriors, both Kings games. That's 4.
We can count the losses. I think assume the Thunder. The Spurs is probably a hard one to win. In one of the, if we can win 2 of 3 versus Detroit, Orlando, or Boston, that would be a huge win.
Yeah, I think we're about to go on a pretty good run. I think we're going to be feeling healthy from the long rest. Matisse will hopefully be back. Clingan's going to be fully healthy. I'm feeling very, very good about this next stretch of games.
I think that's a hot take prediction for sure. 10-3 in the next 13. I think 8-5. That's think my expectation, and I'd be happy with it.
Sure.
As well, because to me that's losing to the Thunder, losing it on the road to the Spurs, losing one of the Orlando, Detroit, Boston games, and losing one of all of the ones against bad teams, just having a bad night, which I think is reasonable. I mean, we're playing the Warriors, and they've been playing better as of late. I'm assuming that one's a win. So,
dude, I'm looking at like the games at the end of the season. We have a stretch where we go Nets, Bucks, Mavs, Wizards, Clippers, Pelicans.
Dude, I saw this the other day. These are all of our home games in the months of March and April.
Yeah.
Pacers, Hornets, Jazz, Nets, Bucks, Mavericks, Wizards, Pelicans, Clippers, Kings. That's all of them.
I mean, we could win every single. It's why I don't want to get. It's why I don't want to. I'm not panicking yet because it's like we are going. The goal was play in and be a 500 team. I think we're still well on track for that.
Yeah. I just think I'm not like, oh God, we're gonna fall off. Like we're gonna tank. I'm not worried about not tanking. I'm not really worried about not making the play-in either. What I'm worried about is that like we're just still playing bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I worry that the play won't get better. I don't worry that we're not gonna rack up more wins. But like to me, I'm starting to worry that the hot win streak isn't gonna come. Like the 10 of 11. Because the opportunities for that are there.
Yes.
But with the way we've been playing, especially with that Grizzlies game and how that looked, and again, I know we're starting Young Hansen. Like it's really tough to win a game when it goes like that. But
yeah,
just with the play, and even like before they went out, like we weren't playing great defense before. So if we don't go above 500 in this stretch of upcoming 9 or 13 games, then I'll start to be like, we might not have that big moment, right?
Sure.
So this is me just saying, like, as long as we're above 500, we're turning the corner, and then we can have that big run at the end of the year to like put it all together. But if we don't look good during this stretch, I'll be fearful that we don't have that in us. So,
I'm still just waiting for that because what concerns me about this season a little bit is last year it was more of a like lineups issue. You look and you're like, oh, there's lineups that actually work really, really well. That if we play those, we'll probably win some games.
Yeah.
And then we did play those and we did win some games.
Yeah.
Look at the team right now. There's not that many realistic, consistent lineups that can get big minutes that are like playing really well together.
Yeah.
So it's not a lineups issue. It's a game plan issue.
Mm-hmm.
But I still am subscribing to the fact that this team on paper is way too good defensively for when it's healthy to not be top 10. And I still think that's going to happen. It's just taking longer than we think.
Yeah. So again, golden opportunity number 1 of the season, pretty much to go on a run that excites people. And then again, we just laid out, like the end of the season provides another one if it doesn't happen now. But for right now, the goal should be above 500 over the course of the rest of December. And basically by the time the beginning of January and the new year rolls around, we should get pretty close to 500 overall. And if we're not, then I think that's when the worries can really start to settle in for the season.
Yeah.
Because it is young. It's a fourth of the season. NBA season's long. I know people are getting maybe in the typical a little more tired. Football starts to ramp up and get more important. So for you Blazer fans here hanging out with us, listening to us talk for, an hour and 15 minutes essentially about the Blazers. We know that, it's a long season and we've got plenty of time to turn things around. So we've treaded water. We're still in 10th. Got some more rest. I mean, we only have 2 games over the next 8 days still. So plenty of time to get right. But 2 good ones coming up. A big game against the Pelicans. You couldn't ask for much of a get-right game than taking on a 3-22 team who knows how to lose. So let's get a dub. Start to feel good. Everyone will start to have a happy Christmas, I think, is what the Blazers are going to promise you. So
some might say merry.
Merry. Maybe a Merry Christmas. Definitely a Happy Christmas. Maybe a Merry one.
Yes.
That's the difference between 7-6 and 10-3 is right there. Thank you guys, as always, for listening. We will come back to you probably another week after 2 more games. And then after that, I will be traveling up to Portland. And my plan is to go to all 5 of the games of the upcoming big homestand. Brad and I will go to a lot of them. So we'll have, I think, some different content, from different places coming for you guys. But we'll make sure to keep it up along the way. But Brad, you got anything else before we head out?
Blazers are cool.
Blazers are cool.
Pretty cool.
Even when they're banged up and Brad's sick, they're still cool.
Yeah, I was going to say being sick's not
Brad's
cool.
Brad's banged up too.
Yeah.
Just so you know. He's going on IR. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you later.